Hello and welcome to Africa Now, where we look into the future of Africa and those making things happen in the continent. Our team had an opportunity of an exclusive interview with leaders of an oil and gas company, Makwande Energy and Trading, operating in South Africa. Established in 2007 as broad-based Black Economic Empowerment BBBE Trading Company in the South African oil market, Makwande Energy Trading is a crude oil and products trading company based in Johannesburg, South Africa. The energy company stands out through its in-depth knowledge base and prognosis of the energy market. Makwande is an Nguni word which means let there be growth. As the name implies, the company is committed to service of excellence, growth, innovation, and strategic partnerships. The need to transform and improve the distribution of oil and gas products led to the establishment of Makwande Supply and Distribution in 2009, specializing in transportation of fuel by road tankers. Makwande Energy Trading is founded by Nona, a woman who has made a name for herself by successfully establishing and running a company in the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry. Nona shared her experiences and challenges in building an oil and gas company in South Africa, as well as her efforts in community development. She shares her views with African Leadership Magazine's Ehis Ayere.
During the course of our interaction, you've said that you come from a humble background, and I believe this has also affected some of your work and the way you relate to people. So can you kindly tell us more about your background?
First, thank you so much to come all the way to South Africa, and I really appreciate the fact that you identify us as a company. My background, I grew up in Cape Town, even though I ended up in Johannesburg. My father, in fact, was a migrant worker coming from Eastern Cape, working in Cape Town. So at an early age, I unfortunately lost them. Both of them at 18, I didn't have both my folks. So I think that's what really gave me strength. And I had to get some bursaries to take me through to school. And I ended up with a master's in economics. Well, the master's in economics really was not the core interest initially. The core interest initially was more on psychology, clinical psychology, trying to help, looking at the environment in a township, to help other kids maybe that might find themselves in the same situation as I was. So I don't give up, there's life tomorrow. But then doing psychology and economics, both of them at university, I was getting high marks, high grades, and economics by default became one of the interest subjects. And then from there, I joined the bank, First National Bank, as a foreign exchange trader. From foreign exchange trader, I joined the state oil company, Strategic Fuel Fund, as again on the forex side, and later on I was moved to the oil department.
From your experience as a woman, while growing up here in South Africa as a girl, what are some of the challenges you faced, and you think at that time you were schooling?
I think the challenge is already, as you already correctly mentioned, that patriarchal approach, where as a woman you are known that to be a person that's supposed to be in the kitchen and cooking and cleaning, and then it becomes a little bit of a stereotype. So I'm not different from those women who grew up in that environment. It's even worse when I was left on my own at 18. But it becomes more of a stereotype. But it doesn't stop you as a woman or as a young lady out there to try and achieve, kind of like to try and achieve and chase your goal, your dreams, because there's nothing really stops you to go forward. Then it's just the perception, it's just the stereotypes, but nobody stops you and say, no, it's enough now, don't go ahead, don't study. So therefore, as a result of that, because it's in the mind most of the time, or except the fact that maybe you find that some families, they are struggling in terms of getting the finance. Say you've got finance, somebody can really sponsor your studies. Nothing stops you to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Did you think the African society need to do much more to empower the girl child?
Definitely, because you empower a woman, you empower the nation.
Yeah.
As a woman, really, you look at your neighbor. I mean, your neighbor's child cannot starve having a woman next door. And then when it comes to men, they go and play golf. Then they will see, they will see the neighbor later on. But it said that you empower the woman, you empower the nation. With women more empowered out there, we can see a difference in our society.
You started your career at First National Bank as a foreign exchange trader, and gradually, should I say, you strategically moved or joined the oil and gas industry. So can you really tell us more about your career in that light? How did you, and finance and both the oil and gas sector, they are male dominated. So what are your experiences working in those sectors?
As you correctly put it, in terms of the bank, I started in the bank as a foreign exchange trader. I would say that in a South African context, even though than male and female, we still had at the time the issue of the color, maybe black and white, because you find that there were few, if any, black people in the dealing room. So that's your first challenge. But then if you look around and take yourself that you have got the same qualification as everybody else, you are competent the same as everybody else, then you take that out of your mind, then it stops the hindrance. Then you can perform exactly like any other person. So in terms of moving into the oil side, so when I joined the state oil company, SFF Group, I joined there again on the forex side. And then there was an opening on the oil side of the group, SFF, and therefore they wanted transformation, and then I was approached on that. And then to me, it was like, why not? Because the whole department was men only. And I said, why not? Let me just go and join the division. The rest is history. So really, I think when it comes to men and females, sometimes our perception and our mindset is what blocking us than reality.
For women?
For women, okay. Yeah. So it's what blocking us, because you see around, you look, it's just men. Yes. Already you're discouraged. You are discouraged, you feel threatened and all that. I remember joining firstly from First National. I used to wear like dresses, I didn't have pants. Then I look around, it's easy for me to be identified around here. First, you just change your perception. Not that you want to be like them, you still yourself. Then I started to buy suits as well, like slack suits. Yeah. So there's no difference between the dealing room. Yeah, that's how it starts. But the support, and honestly, I mean, what I've learned most of the time is what I was taught by men. So they are supportive, they help you. It's all that you just reach out for help and you get assistance.
Okay. The recent statistics, still on your career at that early stage of your life, so recent statistics show that youth employment rate in South Africa increased to 54.70% in the fourth quarter of 2018 from 52.80% in the third quarter of 2018. So I want to juxtapose the present and past South African economy. What was the situation of the South African economy during your time? As at the time you left school, in terms of employment for youths, was it difficult for you getting your first job?
Well, it was difficult even then in terms of the past. I think then with the situation in South Africa that was pre-1994, that was even double the fact that even if you qualified for the position because of your color, you might not get a position. So to me, I mean, it was kind of, it's kind of similar. Yes, now we've got opportunities, all of us, but the economy worldwide, you find that it's putting us in a situation of unemployment. But what I can say to youth, don't stop studying because you are discouraged by unemployment. Because when opportunities come, they need to find you ready and prepared. So continue, don't look at it as to what's going to happen to me, I need a job tomorrow. Continue if you've got an opportunity to study, so that when there's an opening, you are ready.
What is your opinion? What do you think both the private and public sectors can do together, to address the rate of unemployment? Because if you look at the statistics of youths we have, I think it's going to more than double. And about over 60% of our population, they are youths around the continent, which is about 15% of the global youth population. So if you look at the projections in the next 2-3 decades, it's going to be more than double. So which means the unemployment rate is alarming. So as a private sector player and an employer of labor, how do you think we can really address the issue of unemployment?
Well, the issue of unemployment, to me, I think we can start with internship, skills transfer to the younger generation. It doesn't guarantee them jobs, but it gives them an opportunity, because within that, you can pick up a talent. Because you find out that maybe your labor force, it's in the mid-50s upwards, so therefore you need that integration. And whilst you still have those senior people within the organization, that's when you bring in your interns and then identify, and it gives them an opportunity also to try and find out their core specialty, because they can do internship and rotate within the organization until they identify exactly the area that they would like to specialize in. So without giving those opportunities, even of internship, because now what happens is that when you go out of university or high school, for example, and then you're looking for a job, most of the time you find that they're looking for experience. Where do you get experience from? So those internships, which in South Africa really they are really kind of like more pushing for in terms of trying the private sector to do a lot in terms of youth. You get in terms of your BE codes, you get in some form of points towards your BE certificate because of empowering youth. So to me, it's a talent, because you won't know them whilst they're in the streets. But if you keep on doing that, rotating every day, and then you take the best within the within the team, those who can absorb, and therefore in that you are generating a newer labor force, and people really that are hungry to learn, hungry to prosper, and at least to take care of themselves. So if we're doing that, that's where we can make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. In 2017, not so long ago, I think, the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, she shared some of her experiences of gender discrimination in the ICT sector. I have a quote, I want to quote. She said, "I've been let out of key industry events and social gatherings. I've had meetings with external leaders where they primarily addressed the more junior male colleagues. I've had my comments frequently interrupted and my ideas ignored until they were rephrased by men." So we know that the oil industry, which you are into, ma'am, is predominantly a boys' club. And globally, only 20% of the workforce in the oil and gas industry is female. You have been in this sector and also in the finance sector, which is also being dominated, like you said earlier. What is your experience based as a woman in the oil and gas industry? Do you share the kind of experiences the CEO of YouTube has? Or, like you said earlier, all the men in the sector, they were just supportive?
Well, I would say you will find the individuals, really, that will put it down. But identify within the group who are really supportive, that are on your side. And even those who put you down during the meetings, because they do that sometimes. And especially if you're coming up with good ideas, just to put it into your place. So I would say from my side, the trick was, I won't take it personally during the meeting, but I'll make sure that I have coffee with that individual. Then at least we have a discussion. Then you find that in the next meeting, the conversation is different. So don't sit there and feel disappointed and give up. Identify the people that always like to pull you down within the meeting environment, and then deal with them one-on-one. Because at least it makes you understand and find out exactly why are you doing this, why, because if you try and find out in a forum, then you're giving that person a platform to humiliate you more. So therefore, when you are one-on-one and you're talking reality.
So beside the meeting,
outside the meeting,
one-on-one with the person.
Exactly.
Right.
First, you don't take it personal. You look at a point, because they'll be more attacking you more subjectively, not to the point, not about the subject that they're discussing.
Okay.
So therefore, you try and deal with the point. Separate the emotions from the discussions that you are here for.
Okay.
Even if they're trying to sway you to...
Okay, women should not be that emotional. with the work they
Try, and I know it's difficult to do it, but you need to learn it. And if it's a personal attack, you still respond on the topic on the table. Don't respond to the person in terms of responding more of a personal attack.
I know for men, some of those things they do, it may not be intentional, but it's our society.
Yes.
So sometimes when they respond, I believe it's just the way men were brought up.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm just wondering how this can be, how you're able to address these areas.
People, when they're in an environment where there is a group, they feel more empowered, they feel more strong. But when you find them one-on-one, then they are more human. Yes. And then you said, my man, we are working towards the same goal. So therefore, there's no need for you to attack me, because at the end of the day, it's about the company. You need to work for your kids, I need to work for my kids. I need you as an employer and an employee, because without you, I can't function. You need me to create those opportunities, because without the company, you won't have a job. So we need each other. It's a 50-50. So that's where we start.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, in 2007, you started Makwande Energy Trading.
That's right.
And in 2009, you diversified into the logistics through Makwandes Supply and Distribution.
That's right.
In our previous interview with you in our magazine, the African Leadership Magazine, you stated that the transformation policies in the country inspired you to go the entrepreneurial route. So, what are these transformational policies?
I would say when it comes to transformational policies, after the 1994 in South Africa, following the democratic change, the way BE codes that were set in place by the government in terms of accelerating, or at least including the previously disadvantaged communities into the economic work stream. So therefore, you find that there's procurement requirement, there's transformation requirement, but they don't kind of like give you entitlement or a freebie. So you still need to do your homework. And then because of that, it kind of like gave us a platform and an opportunity to be part of the economic work stream. But without just having it for free, you still need to work hard towards it. So therefore the BE codes in South Africa, Black Economic Empowerment codes as well, kind of assisted us to give us a springboard to be in that industry, to be in the market.
Okay. How would you describe your journey with Makwande over the years, vis-a-vis, the giant strides of the company, as in some of the accomplishments of the company, or where you are today? So how would you describe the journey so far?
The journey has been a roller coaster with the dips and ups and downs, and we've gone through any other difficulty that a small company or young company can go through, being financial position or opportunities in terms of people maybe not being sure if you're able to do what you're supposed to be doing. So therefore, you multiply your efforts in terms of making sure that your counterparties or your stakeholders are really confident that you're not taking a risk by working with you. So it's not an easy journey, and it's ongoing. So therefore, it doesn't end. It's ongoing. So each and every day, maybe that's what's exciting, because each and every day has got its own dynamics. But then it's how you respond to those dynamics that makes a difference. And I would say also the delayed financial gratification. You should earn a salary, not look at the money that's starting to come in drips and drops and pieces as something that you should utilize. If you want to grow the company, reinvest back into the company. So that's why we call it.
So that's what you've been doing?
Yes, you reinvest back into the company. Delayed financial gratification. Time will come where you can say, okay, fine, it's time for me maybe to reward myself. But other than that, you need to reinvest back into the organization and the people.
So you can grow.
Yes.
So I understand that at that particular time, or there are some multinationals that have been players in the sector, like Petro SA, Chevron, Shell. And how are you able to compete with these people? They've been in the industry, and they're in the same sector, the distribution, refinery, retailing, wholesale. They are well established with capacities. So how are you able to compete with them?
In terms of competing, I would say.
Let's say, how are you able to sustain yourself?
I would say in terms of sustainability and everything, the oil majors actually are our stakeholders, our counterparties.
Okay.
Because we supply them and we sell products to them like your imports.
Okay.
But in return, you buy from them on the local market, on wholesale, when you're selling to other third parties. So therefore, it's a strategy company by company. As a small company, you have that close, intimate relationship with your client and understanding your client very well, what they want, what they don't want. And therefore, you try and strive and give them the best service ever. So you come up with a different strategy from a multinational, for example, that has got everything, financial strength, but the organization is big. Then in terms of the smaller companies, you've got that close relationship. So your turnaround time in terms of assisting your client is more quicker, even though you can't compete on pricing, but then you look at other avenues where you can do better than the major.
You mentioned financing at the early stage of when you started Makwande, And seriously, access to finance is the biggest challenge to entrepreneurs in Africa. If you ask many young people who have passion for one or two things to do, they have one or two things to do, they are constrained. They say it's finance. There's a government 2000 report. There's a government 2015 report in South Africa that states the status of noted that 29% of women entrepreneurs receive assistance. Only 22.9% rather receive assistance from a commercial bank in 2009. So the access to finance is even more difficult for women because there's this discrimination in society. So how were you able to sidestep some of this? Obviously, you encountered, I believe you experienced the same challenge. So how were you able to sidestep? Just like experience, and how are you able to sidestep these challenges?
Well, in terms of us, Makwande, in finance, or rather trade finance, I would say the fact that when it comes to oil, you are working with international banks, international banks that know the industry very well. So if you are able to structure your transaction, that you make and demonstrate that there is no exposure. So we find it that the international banks at the time, they were the ones who were far more in advance in terms of financing us than the local banks. So I think that advantage of having the international banks in the beginning supporting us, it kind of assisted us, or maybe because locally they'll be looking in your balance sheet that you've got nothing. And then how do I finance a 70 million transaction on somebody who's got nothing? And whereas the international banks are far more in advance in terms of understanding the commodity financing. So I think that relationship with international bank kind of like assisted us. So therefore, as soon as you start working and doing some work with other banks, then you start to attract the local banks. You start knocking at the door, trying to find out, is there anything that they can do to participate as well? So I think that has helped us. When it comes to trucks financing, that's where they, not necessarily I would say a woman company, I would say the small startup black companies that have got a problem. But in that, you find that, again, the manufacturers, the OEMs, they understand the business well than the financial institution. Financial institution will be looking at you and say, they doubting that they can give you, for example, a 4 million rand, say for one truck, a unit for a petroleum truck. But then the OEM, the manufacturer, they've been in the industry for years. They understand that if you know your business, you know that the truck is going to be running, then they will be financing, they will be taking that risk of financing you. So in that as well, you find ways and means of going around the challenges. So the OEMs will be able to do that. But the minute they do that, then you find that 2-3 years down the line, no exposure, everything is going well. You're attracting now more financiers coming to you now. They want to find out how can they help you. I think that's what we found out. But you make sure that whatever you do it perfectly and efficiently.
Okay.
Because once you stuff up, I can tell you, nobody will touch you tomorrow. So I think how you manage your business and your finances in the early days is very important, because everyone else will know that if you want that company, go to that company. We know those people, they are trustworthy, they are efficient, they know what they're doing. Then word of mouth, then you attract more financiers. But in the beginning, it's really not so easy.
Okay, there are reports that in Africa, and also in South Africa, that the rate of business failure is very high. Say when you start 10 people start a business, in the next 5 years, 90% will fail, and others. Some reports have attributed this trend to challenges ranging from business environment, we have mentioned funding, some say the educational system, some say other cultural and social challenges. Now, what's your take on this, and what are some of your secrets and nuggets for success?
No, it's difficult to say it's a secret.
Okay.
But you just need to work hard and hard and hard and hard.
How do you define your hard work?
And it's important to be hands-on.
Okay.
You can't have a business and just leave it there to be managed by other people. Not that you don't trust them. Because when the business is still fairly new, it's more, there is no segregation or difference between you, your name, and the company name.
Yes.
They both similar. When you say Makwande, it's Nona. When you say Nona, it's Makwande. So therefore, there's a reputational risk that you're running there. You cannot let things run without you being involved. You work hands-on, and you double your efforts, unfortunately, and so that everything is going well. So if you leave things, you don't know what's happening, you travel all over, that's where really sometimes you find those challenges. Or if sometimes you find that even if you are involved, because of the market dynamics, so you should be able to look for some form of diversification. Like as we started trading, then we realized that with this trading, if this is our core business, I can tell you 5 years down the line we'll be out of business, because it's the same market environment. There's more players, international and local.
Yes.
So therefore we're chasing one cargo, two cargos, all of us. You're lucky to get a cargo. Yes, we did well when we started. But then what do? Do you wait for a doomsday, or do you start looking at what can you do different? That's when we diversified into transport.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait when you think that the startup period, it's actually assisting you to be there in the market. But therefore 2 years, 3 years, start to look around, have a forward view. What else can you do to make sure that it supplements your current business?
Yes. So that it's sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Please tell us about your commitment to health, safety, and in terms of operations.
Well, the HSE.
The HSE.
When it comes to petroleum industry, is our bread and butter. There is no way you can avoid HSE. And I would say almost 80 to 90% of your day-to-day activities involve HSE. Remember, you are in dangerous goods. You're carrying a product that is hazardous. You're carrying a product that can affect the people in the case of an accident. You can affect the environment in the case of a rollover. So therefore, it's training. Everybody must sleep and eat HSE. So we don't compromise on that. So you're training, we've got training interventions, we've got what we call toolbox talk to remind people. We've got monthly topic, whether it's a fatigue management or even if it's a small incident that happened not in our organization, we'll be talking about that just to keep the people aware, the awareness. So we find that working very well because it reduces your chances of having the incidents. Then it goes beyond that, because the lesser incidents you have, the better will be your insurance premium.
Okay.
So because insurance premium, when you're still a smaller company, a young company, they are high because insurance don't know how risky you are.
Okay.
So the more you have less claims, it's all about a culture of compliance. Then it improves also your costing.
Okay.
So it even goes beyond. But generally, it's about environment, it's about the well-being. The very same driver on the truck needs to know, because that is the father or the mother to some kids and a wife or a husband.
Yes.
So that person needs to go back home alive. So the culture, we've got drive cam in their trucks. When there's an incident or they're talking on the phone, it takes a clip, because about the behavior of the people. Then that you use that to remind people, or maybe in some certain instances, then it might need an HR intervention.
Yeah.
So that the person needs to know that what you are doing, you think you're stealing to answer a phone while you're driving. You are putting everybody around you at risk, including your family that might not have a father tomorrow.
Okay, madam, we understand that your trucks have still on HSE, and your trucks have drive cam
Yes.
as additional support, to that. They also evaluate the test the level of driver fatigue level. There's a fatigue management system.
Yes.
Yes, that evaluates and tests the level of driver fatigue level on the road. Now, is it a kind of an industry standard? It was just a unique feature of is this industry standard that every company within the industry must have this standard, or it's a unique feature of Makwande?
I would say majority of the industry players in the dangerous goods, they do have those features.
Okay.
But Makwande as well has got that. We have our tracking system that is monitoring your hash braking, your speed, your everything. We've got a 24/7 checking team. We do have a fatigue management that quickly sends an email or an SMS as well to us, and then we've got our management, the reports and everything. So we've got all the systems that can assist us, because it's difficult to track everything as a human being. But the system will draw down a report, or when there's immediate danger, it immediately sends an SMS to everybody that is loaded, and an email. Then when the driver stops wherever, then you are able to phone the driver. But we're not phoning them on their cell phone. We've got communicators in the truck, so that if there's anything, the driver doesn't find himself compromised by using the phone. He just press a button. It's a control room. Press a button. It's operations. Even though we discourage them, unless really there's something urgent or they're seeing a threat outside, where they will have to press, because your concentration is very important. So we put all the features, and they're costing us money, but we put everything, so that at least we know that we are at the right side of the law, and also we're complying. Yes.
What are the future plans of Makwande in terms of diversifying into other sectors, or expanding to other countries, perhaps Nigeria, my country, So what's the future plan of Makwande? Where do you see Makwande in the next 5-10 years in terms of expansionary drive?
I would say that in terms of the growth and going forward, it's just an ongoing strive and looking for opportunities. I've got a business development group, including my executive director, where we will have sessions and look at what else can we do in the market. For example, now we've got a storage facility, which I will take you to in Benoni, which is our first activity will operate. It used to be engines, storage facility. So to me, there's another activity, there's an add-on. And in a continent, we travel a lot, especially to a country, Nigeria, for crude oil as well.
So you get your supply from
other suppliers, or look for opportunities, or participate in tenders, working with the local content in Nigeria. Okay. So we don't sit around and don't look for opportunities. So to me, it's more situational driven. research and look what's happening in the neighboring countries. You know, there's a lot that we're learning, and especially in your country, in Nigeria, people work very hard there. And I'm quite proud to see people on the other side have achieved a lot. I mean, your planes are owned by indigenous Nigerians, which is something we don't have here. So by traveling and meeting with the people, you're seeing opportunities, and who knows, then those opportunities you try and replicate and see whether you partner with other counterparties in the continent, or you come in and see what you can implement. So you learn from traveling.
Lots.
Yeah.
There's one question I'd like to ask. What is your take on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? You know, it helps in this. The African Union, African leaders are saying that Africa should push towards regional integration. You know, Africa should trade more with itself. That's going to boost. You know, there are estimates that this AFCTA will boost intra-African trade by 52% or so, thereabout. So what's your take on this? And how do you see how it's going to help Makwande, for example? I know that South Africa has not signed to it. So is Nigeria and some big countries in the continent, but at least they've met the 22 mark for ratification by 22 countries, which is the signal that is going to start very soon. So what's your take on this agreement?
I think I'm one of those people that support it.
Okay.
Because as a continent, we've got a lot, but we're really not taking advantage of what we have. And the intra-Africa trade, to me, that's where it should start. Okay. In terms of developing, you've got a strength in something, I've got strength in something, then we combine the two strengths or whatever, and then in that way, we enriching our countries. And I think with one of my thesis topics as well was alluding to that. It's only that now I just gave myself a break a little bit. It was more on the oil industry in the continent, with a special reference to the formation of the African bloc in the oil sector, because we do have a lot in the continent, and Africa is rich, but we're not taking advantage of that. And Africans are also learned; they can do certain things themselves. So to me, that would be a plus to see that happening, so that we don't really. We're not saying the West is not good. We've learned from them, but what can we do locally? Within the continent, that can enrich us, that can make us different. We've got all the wealth, we've got all the the resources. I mean, there's a lot that we can achieve. Really, just together, yeah.
So you are totally in support.
Very much so. I'm the supporter of that. Very much so.
Okay, you've talked about something before, which I wanted to touch more on. Talked about skills development and job creation. How would you quantify Makwande's contribution to those areas?
Makwande's contribution in these areas, most of the people that are here in Makwande, even other than interns, are the people that are not coming from the oil industry. So therefore, the knowledge that I have, the little that I have, I part with them. And I find them very appreciative. You know, when you go to an oil major, you find that certain divisions, they already have people. Even if you want to go in there, you won't have an opportunity. So for a company like Makwande, there's an opportunity to quickly go into the areas where, and you become exposed to areas where it's not easy to go into. And especially with me knowing the background, that certain divisions are limited in terms of especially the black community. So therefore, I use this as a platform to kind of like integrate most of the people to come into to the organization, and also start to have an accelerated way of understanding the whole industry. Then internship becomes a plus, because every day we've got intake. You'll see we've got one at the moment. We're working on in here, okay, at the head office. We're working on another 3 for commercial side. But you will see more when we go to our road. And also we have more income to Sasolburg. Unfortunately, we won't go to Sasolburg, it's a bit far for us, where you have people coming in with no clue, no idea what they're coming here for. Then we start them from scratch. The others starting from tracking, just to check, look at the screen, checking. But today they are senior controllers. So to me, that's an achievement that I would like to see. And at least we've got examples of that, not just talking about it.
That's nice, man. That's great. You're doing so well, madam. So let's now talk more about your corporate social investments programs.
Yes.
You've got the interns, I know you've got some scholarship and like grants.
That's right.
Tell us more about this CSI.
When it comes to CSI, it's giving back to the community. We identify homes. For example, we've got orphanage homes. We've got girls and boys institutions where they keeping the abused children or abandoned children. So where they're always looking for money to kind of like subsidize those kids and be able to go to school and buy them uniform. Okay. So it's one of the areas where you find that other people really, they find themselves in situations where it's not because of their doing, and you might be having a serious talent in there. So the little that you have, at least you contribute. We would like to do more. I think as we grow as an organization, there will be like kind of like more maybe institutions that we'll be working with. So far, we're working very close with 2, but we do have other ad hoc kind of activities that we're doing outside that too. So we're making sure that we give them, we support them. It's not the real support in terms of that they can live with, but at least we're contributing towards, because there's a future that we are living out there that find themselves not they are doing to be in that position.
Yeah.
Especially the younger generation. Honestly, when it comes to people that they find in a difficult situation, I think that's a subject that I kind of like I'm attached to, because there's more talent in there. But because of your environment, I always say your environment should not define who you should be, who you become. Your background should not be that. So if we give the opportunity that those kids are able to go to school, then we might have a future as a society.
The scholarship that you give, you pick this from the homes. You give the scholarship, or you have it separate,
We have a separate.
Okay,
we have a separate
from
from the homes. Because now they've got more structured way. They consolidate the monies and take the kids to school. But when it comes to bursaries, yes, we identify. We'll be looking and seeing. Talk to people in the township, talk to people in the rural area, and say, do you have any serious case that you have in your closer community? Like one of our bursary holders that is currently doing matric is a girl. She's staying with the grandmother who was earning the government pension. The mother passed away and the father is not around. And that child is so serious, we'll see her tomorrow. So serious about life, so focused. Those are the people that we look for, that you find that without assistance, that person is going nowhere. It's going to end up like any other person, average person that cannot do anything for himself or herself. So we identify like it's in serious cases. Yeah.